In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill's Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean, and we are just going to jump right into this because we are recording minutes after that insane Bears finish to beat the Green Bay Packers. Alex, my hands are shaking like I can't even control my emotions right now.
My heart is pounding, my hands and legs are both shaking, and my voice is gone. I yelled yes at the top of my lungs like 5 or 6 straight times, so I was almost coughing up blood. I still can't believe that just happened. Against them, against the boogeyman, the team that's owned us, where we've seen Aaron Rodgers do that same throw at the end of a game to beat us, where Brett Favre could throw for 5 touchdowns and 400 plus yards against us. You know, it was a game that was shaping up to be one of the most disheartening games in years. Going into this game was one of the most, if not the most hyped Bears game in a very, very long time, at least since 2018. And you could probably go back further when a Bears-Packers game was hyped up this far, because the last time a Bears-Packers game was hyped up just for the Chicago side was 2018 when we won the division. The Packers were done. They weren't very good. But you could go back to 2013 on the infamous Randall Cobb play. That was in the final week of the season on the final play, the Chris Conte blown coverage. Because that was the Bears were both playing for something. And this is where we were this week. The Bears were both playing for leverage in the NFC North and one of those top playoff spots. And we were ready. We were ready to do a very angry podcast tonight. A very, very angry one, because the Bears were getting gashed in at the D-line and it looked hopeless. It looked over. And then Caleb Williams, the Iceman cometh. They get an onside kick. They forced overtime, a fumbled exchange at midfield after a big play that the Packers had, and you're thinking, oh, great, they're going to march down the field. And then the bomb to DJ Moore. That bomb to DJ Moore is going to be replayed. Like, I'm going to be telling my grandkids about that throw. This is one of, no matter how this Bears season ends, this is going to go down as one of the craziest and most memorable Bears wins in the regular season in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, just insanity. And I want to start off by saying I didn't like the officiating. Um, I get you have to call the roughing on the play that Jordan Love got hurt because it was helmet to helmet, even though Jordan Love initiated the helmet to collision.
It's going to get called.
It's going to get called. The one before that where he landed with his weight on him, that's bullshit. Bullshit. And
it's just there's no clarity on what that is. It's always so arbitrary.
Do you remember the game? I believe it was against the Vikings where Brian Urlacher got a roughing the passer because he flexed his biceps.
I remember that. I remember that.
Like that was the most. I think Ed Hockley was the one that called that, and I was just like, I think he just wanted to flex his biceps.
Yeah, and then he got called for that. I do remember that very, very well. The other officiating moment that really drove me crazy. Do you remember towards the end of the first half when Cole Kmet was clearly getting held and interfered with, and they just did, like, he was getting legit mugged and they just didn't call it?
Or do you remember the touchdown that won the game where the guy pass interference to DJ Moore and they didn't throw a flag?
Yeah, that too.
I mean, that guy was draped all over him and they didn't throw a flag.
Yeah.
So I thought the officiating wasn't very good. And there was several times where I thought there should have been a false start on the Packers that they didn't call it.
Yeah, no, I know which one you're talking about. Yes.
They're moving before the snap. I mean, it's not a ton before it, but they're getting an early start
Hmm.
or a late snap, and though that should be a penalty. So this game, it was frustrating in that first half because the Bears didn't get a lot of opportunities to move the ball, and against that defense, you need more opportunities to be able to figure out what you can and can't do, and uh, just didn't get a lot of opportunities. They had the ball once or twice in the first quarter, um, and they only had the ball a couple of times in the whole first half. And the first drive, you looked good, and it was a bad fourth down call. I that's what drives me nuts about Ben Johnson sometimes is stop being cute.
See, yeah, and frankly, I I thought that was costly right then and there. And that was one of those plays where you just say, look what you were doing. Look what you were doing to get down there. Like you were slicing and dicing. The run game was working. That all you needed was 1 yard. 1 yard. And you just didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do it. Just run up the gut with Kyle Monangai, get that first down. And listen, I know Ben Johnson loves explosive plays, but guess what? Sometimes you just need to keep that tempo going. You just need to get that first down. And the thing is remember, the Packers started with the ball. The Bears won the toss, they deferred. They started with the ball, they marched downfield, the Bears clamped down. So if you would have stopped them in the red zone and then gone ahead 7-0, you would have felt like all the momentum was on your side.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that drive, that awesome first drive, you don't come away with any points. And
Then
and
you didn't do much after that.
and had you at least, even if you had you run it, I think you probably had a good shot at getting the touchdown. And if not, you're putting them really backed up into a hole.
Right.
And but instead, but they get it out almost to the 20 and get a lot of breathing room. So that was that was a really costly play call there that didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there was one person trying to say, well, if that snap isn't so high, it's like no, that's not the point. The point is sometimes doing the simple that works is best. Because you know what? You weren't doing anything fancy to get down there. You had some play action passes, you had some runs up the middle. I mean, that's you were getting down there on the scripted drive, and you were doing it very efficiently. That's just one of those areas in that spot. Like if you want to get creative in that spot in a certain situation, yes. But right now, you are trying to shift all the momentum towards you and put the foot down early. That is just not the time for that.
Yeah. So we uh we were talking right before we hit record that it would be crazy to see that the real time stat where it shows like the win probability at certain points of the game. And um, at one point, the Packers were at 99%, over
Wow.
99%.
Wow.
And
How,
yeah,
how many how many
because
times have we lost to the Packers like that?
um, uh, more than I can count. More than I can count.
I mean, remember the first game in 2018 when they were up 20-0, Rodgers went out and then he got injected with God knows how many drugs and they put him back. I mean, you remember that game, right?
Yep.
I talked about the Randall Cobb game. We talked about that one. I mean, there are so many times we could say this, and you know what? It almost feels poetic. It almost feels like a Hollywood script because Caleb Williams almost brought them back the last time at Lambeau Field 2 weeks ago. held onto the ball a little too long on the final play, got intercepted, came up a little bit short. Heartbreaking. You walk off the field, the Packer fans are chanting and booing you off as they got you again, and you're thinking, well, okay. As much as that game sucked, I didn't feel too bad about that game because you saw them fight back, you saw them adjust on the road in a very tough place to play against one of the better coaches in the NFL. But it almost felt like after all this time you were kind of owed something. And then it's like they finally were. In a game where you were frankly outcoached. Like this was probably Ben Johnson's worst game as a head coach. You could look at 80% of this game and say how awful it was. And yet we pulled off the miracle.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating because you knew you were out Luther Burden, you were out Roma Dunze, and I don't think DJ Moore is 100%. Um, but you you got to utilize those tight ends. You've got to. You just feed those tight ends. Um, and uh, you've got to get Caleb rolling out. And they talked about how that was the Packers' game plan is to bottle him in. And Caleb can 100% beat you from the pocket. And we saw that in the second or the fourth quarter. Caleb beat you in the pocket. But where Caleb excels is when he's rolling out and he's on the move and he's making things happen. That's just where he excels. But honestly, I thought the Packers had a better chance of winning with Malik Willis than they did with Jordan Love.
Well, the thing with Malik Willis is how insanely mobile it is. And I saw a stat today how the Bears are like the 26th ranked defense against mobile quarterbacks. I mean, it was kind of reminiscent to me of the loss in Baltimore. You remember with Hundley?
Yep.
Tyler
I mean,
Huntley?
yeah, the Bears just have a really slow defensive line, and they have such a difficulty competing against mobile quarterback. I mean, fast quarterbacks. Not necessarily mobile per se, but fast quarterbacks.
Well, and here's the biggest problem though. The biggest problem. You have no pass rush. How many times did we see Malik Willis have a century back there?
Yep.
I mean, they could not touch him. And that was one of the most frustrating things of this game because there were several moments where it was either they couldn't touch him and he took off and he gets 10 plus yards and a first down, or he throws a dot downfield to somebody who's wide open. And obviously, one of the biggest adjustments that you noticed in today's game versus 2 weeks ago was the defense was playing more zone coverage. So 2 weeks ago, you played more man to man. Well, Christian Watson was playing today. Christian Watson is very fast. So playing man to man when you don't have a guy like Kyler Gordon is very hard. So you try to play a bit more zone, but you're not getting home. And there's these pockets and cushions that are wide open for a number of these guys downfield. And that's where you saw some of those big completions from Malik Willis. And really, sure, you can look at the secondary on a number of those plays, but it's the fact that you couldn't get any pressure on him. Like he had all day to throw, all day to scan the field, look at his options, and for those guys to get into those pockets to get open. So you're kind of wondering, why isn't Dennis Allen sending the house a bit more? And I think it's a valid question.
I know why. It's because if you don't get home hitting we saw it last game, is when you sent the house, if you don't get home, they're going to beat you with a big play.
Yes.
I think their whole philosophy for this game was, if we're going to lose to the Packers, we're going to lose because they methodically went down the field, not because they beat us with, some cheapy passes.
Right.
And that was the philosophy.
Fair. That's fair.
And I mean, it worked because here's the thing with making a team methodically march down the field is you you can't make mistakes. If you make a mistake, then you stall the drive. When you hit big chunk plays, you can make up for that. It doesn't matter. But when you methodically march down the field, everything's got to go right. Draw or play after play, series after series. You just have to keep. You can't have false starts. You can't have holdings and put yourself in a hole. You can't have drop passes. Um, so uh, that's just what you got to do. And the Packers were trying that, and they were able to move the ball, but at the end of the day, they didn't score a ton of points.
Well, that's the thing. They were like what, 0 for 4 in the red zone before that bomb to was it Romeo Dobbs
Yeah.
for the touchdown? Because they get into the red zone the first time, they get stopped on fourth down, and then they have to settle for field goals. The one where Jordan Love, the throw kind of sailed. I don't know if it was the wind or it just kind of missed it. Sailed in the back of the end zone, and then there were a few other stops in the red zone, which it proved to be obviously game changing, really, really huge. But the big thing with me was, regardless of how many points the Packers were putting or not putting on the board, they controlled the clock through most of that game. You needed that onside kick because remember this too. Not only did they need to recover that onside kick, they didn't have the 2 minute warning because they let that clock go past the 2 minute warning, which was
Hmm.
not good on their end.
No, that was bad clock management. And Ben Johnson, for the most part, has been pretty good at clock management. And I get that he didn't want to burn those timeouts, but he's got to have his team ready to go. And I get that was a long field goal, and the wind was wild, like wild wind. And it's when you have those fire kicks where you just race out there and kick it. Like those are fine when there's no conditions, like in a dome or in warm weather, no wind. But when it's cold and 25-mile-an-hour winds in Soldier Field, you've got to go out there but you've got to be better still about making that faster. It took the offensive line a while to get there, and then Cairo Santos really wanted to go through his full motion, and it took 30 seconds, I think 32 seconds for that kick to go off. And had you not got that onside kick, the game's over.
Game's over. Game's over. Now, the other big storyline of this game, I think, the game tying touchdown to Jade Walker. First game of his NFL career. We saw him go off in the preseason. He comes up because you didn't have Rome Odunze or Luther Burden, arguably your two most important pieces. You could throw DJ Moore in there as well, obviously, but when you have just one of three of your top receivers, that's tough. And, of course, Zacchaeus has another drop, which is very, very annoying. You still have your tight ends, obviously, in there. You had Komet, who was questionable, but he got in there. And you had Colson Loveland, but it's not easy when you don't have Luther Burden or Roma Dunze. And regardless of what you think of Roma Dunze and some of the drops, as frustrating as they are, we see how good he is in a blocking scheme. Like that kind of stuff matters. And Luther Burden has been going off. So not having those weapons in there obviously didn't help. So props to Jade Walker and that throw from Caleb Williams to tie that game. Just that was a really special moment for both of them.
Yeah, I loved when they got Jade Walker as an undrafted rookie. I watched. I didn't know. I didn't know much about him, but after they picked him up, I started watching film, and I was like, "Ooh, this guy could be good." And then we saw him in training camp and preseason, and he stood out. And I'm like, this kid's gonna be good. And the first thing I said, I was I was talking to somebody this morning, and I was like, with Burden and Adunze out, I'm like, Jade Walker, I think he's gonna have a game. And he's like, look at the betting line I just put, and he had a parlay with Jade Walker scoring a touchdown.
Hmm.
And He also threw in a pick six from uh who did he have? I forgot who he had a pick six. He had the Bears getting a pick six. So I'm like, that was a long shot parlay, but he had the Jade Walker in there, and I was like, that's not a bad bet on that one.
No, no, not at all. But yeah, I know you talked about him before, and remember he had that game-winning catch against the Chiefs in the preseason, like his time expired.
Hmm.
It just kind of made me think, like, maybe he'll have a moment like that this year. Like, how cool that would be. Well, there it is. There's your moment. So good for him, and good for Caleb Williams.
And the ball was an easy to catch, not easy to catch. It was a nice catch, but he had to keep his feet in bounds. And
It's harder than it looks.
that was impressive that he was able to keep his feet in bounds um and on that touchdown, because he's got to keep his eyes on it and keep his feet in bounds. And I was genuinely excited and impressed with that catch. And uh that was huge. The onside kick, um Josh Blackwell with another huge
Josh Blackwell loves making special teams plays against the Packers.
yep.
And,
um
and that's another thing. The special teams, the last few weeks, been playing much better. And I know last week was against the Browns and Cairo missed the one kick, but otherwise, your return game's been solid. Like Devin Duvernay, he's not a fast guy. He doesn't get a lot of yards, but he does hold on to the ball. He's good at ball security. But tonight, we were giving Cairo Santos a lot of flack. But in this windy, difficult night to kick, he made all of them, and they ended up mattering.
yeah, I mean, they all mattered, every single point. um so a couple things I wanted to talk about is, there's a lot of talk online. Was that a dirty hit by Austin Booker on Jordan Love? I think that's silly. He's he has the sack. Why is he trying? Why is he trying to get the penalty? It was just a shitty thing. He came in with his arms out, face out. Jordan Love crouched down because he didn't want to take the big hit in his ribs, and they collided heads.
It was an unfortunate collision.
Yeah, you as much as I is to have Jordan Love, not be able to play for the Packers. You don't want to see anybody go down with an injury like that.
No, no. And I mean, you look at the circumstances too, where both teams were battling injuries very, very hard.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it felt like, oh, you're watching the game, and whenever there's a big play, you almost look like, okay, who's going to get hurt now? Like who's down? The Packers are really, really banged up right now, and I know that it's not just the quarterback and not just uh, Micah Parsons, but their tight ends are getting hurt.
Wide
Was it Josh?
receivers,
Wide receivers, Josh Jacobs been
their
banged
their
up.
tackles hurt.
Yeah, and yeah, they're one lineman who's pretty good. They are a very, very, very banged up team, and obviously, when you look at a game like this, when big plays happen, like big injuries like that, it's always going to be elevated. In a rivalry game like this, where you could tell the bad blood was there. I mean, it was getting chippy from the very first kick when Jackson was literally crowd surfing on the opening kickoff.
Yeah. I mean, that's a penalty, but man, that was silly. But what I was saying is, so, you know, that was definitely not meant to be dirty. It was just an unfortunate thing. The hit on DJ Moore, that was dirty.
Well, and
That,
that didn't even get called. Like
no,
that there was no flag whatsoever.
there's no doubt about it, though. That will get a fine from the NFL.
Well, it's kind of the ultimate message when you catch the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot on purpose. And that's what the Packers do is how last game they were trying to hit Caleb. They how many times did they hit Justin Fields when he was still the Bears quarterback? You go back to Jim McMahon, the Jim McMahon injury. That was a dirty ass hit.
My dad was at that game. The Charles Martin hit on the slamming of the head. He was at that game.
So the Packers are a dirty team. Period. They lack respect.
Is
Uh,
this is this by any chance a play at the Micah Parsons comments?
what? Me? No. No. Um, so
Sean is very, very petty, as you can see.
I'm petty. Uh, but that was a dirty hit by the Packers. Absolutely. Just a cheap shot. That should have been 15 yards and uh, you know, one towards the disqualification. Um, what else? I thought the Bears offensive line struggled a little bit, especially without Micah
Yeah,
Parsons.
yeah, they were getting some pressure and they were calling some blitzes, and Caleb had to throw the ball away several times and waste plays because of that. The other thing too was s- this drives me crazy that toss pitch behind the line of scrimmage. Stop doing that. It doesn't work.
You know, it's been pretty successful against everybody but the Packers. It has not been successful against the Packers.
Right. They read it, they see it, so stop doing it against them.
Um, so I we're recording this before we get to hear good, better, best. I think that's going to be the best one so far.
It's not going to be the goodest one. It's not going to be the betterest one. It's going to be the best one. I'm constantly on my dashboard on my laptop right now. I am consistently trying to refresh, and I'm waiting for it. That
Yeah.
one is going to be wild. I don't know if he's going to take his shirt off or not. But you know what this really does kind of save you from? We were 0.1% away of getting the ultimate pie in the face to Ben Johnson for the I look forward to beating Matt LaFleur 2 times a year comment that he made in his opening presser. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking the whole time, man, we are going to get clowned for this, and it's just going to be another story, and the Packers still own the Bears, blah, 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 chapter, and boom.
I just want to point out that we beat Jordan Love and the Packers and we beat Aaron Rodgers' team in the same season.
I suppose. I mean, Rodgers didn't play, but
Doesn't matter.
yes.
We beat his team.
Petty Sean is at it
Oh,
again.
I'm so petty.
He's
I'm so
pettier
petty.
than the late Tom Petty. I don't know. I don't know if you've been on Twitter over the past 5, 10 minutes, but I tweeted out a stat. You know, Caleb Williams has more wins against the Packers if you put Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky together.
Uh,
If Caleb Williams wins one more game against the Packers in his career, he will have more than Jay Cutler did. Jay Cutler beat him twice. Justin Fields never beat them. Mitch Trubisky beat them once. And you know what else is crazy? That was only the third win at Soldier Field against the Packers since the start of the 2010 season.
you know, do you know how many wins Matt Eberflus had in his entire career with the Bears?
14?
14. Do you know how many Ben Johnson has in his first season so far?
11.
11.
11.
When we talked and that non-Bears fans didn't want to hear it. We're like, this is not a real professional coaching staff. This is a clown college. This is P.T. Barnum's school of clowns. Like and that's what we were talking about. We have adults in the room now. They don't put up with bullshit. They're coaching hard. It's a winning culture. they're winning games.
Well, to quote Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, uh, Ben Johnson, uh, uh, finds a way.
And all I have to say is for the rest of the season, to quote Jurassic Park again, hold on to your butts.
Well, I mean, tonight was the ultimate 2025 Bears game. You're trailing, you look like you're dead, and then unlike years in the past, they pull out the miracle. They reach deep into the bag and they pull out the miracle. And you did it against the boogeyman of all teams. The ultimate dream was to win a game like that against the Packers.
Yeah, you outpackered the Packers.
You outpackered the Packers. And you know what's kind of funny too is look at both wins you have against the NFC North. The win in Minnesota against the Vikings and tonight against Green Bay. They were both holy shit, what the fuck, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat type ball games.
Yep.
And you needed a big play on special teams. You had the Devin Duvernay return to set up the Cairo Santos field goal in Minnesota, and then today you needed the onside kick in every single one of those screwball kicks from Cairo Santos.
I do
But today
love
it was truly a game-winning drive from Caleb Williams.
it. Absolutely was. It absolutely was the game tying and game winning.
Yes, yes.
I don't think he's going to hit 4,000 yards this season, but
Just win games.
he's winning games, and that's all I care about.
Win games and play when it matters. And that, for the most part, is what he's done. Yeah, that one interception a few weeks ago, that was tough. You almost brought him back in a miracle again. But it happens. It's, you know what, as surprising as it is, for all the great quarterbacks, not every single quarterback had that game-winning drive every single time. Brett Favre didn't always do it. Aaron Rodgers didn't always do it. I'm sure Tom Brady. We saw Tom Brady. We saw the Bears stop him in their one win in 2020 on a game-winning drive opportunity. Every quarterback is going to, every great quarterback, I should say, is going to have those moments where you just don't come through in the end. But in so many of these situations, he has. He has come through.
Speaking of Tom Brady, I didn't think he was a very good announcer last year. He's starting to come into his own.
I think so too, and there are still some moments where you go, but I do think there is improvement. I respect the fact that he's so enthusiastic about where he is and what he's doing, and it's particularly good to listen to certain points of Tom Brady when he's breaking down quarterback play. He describes it in a way that we try to understand, where it's very easy to listen to an expert talk and the average fan's not going to really get it. I think Tom Brady, I think he's got a ways to go before getting like a really good level, but I do agree. I do think he is getting better at it.
I still say that Matt or Greg Olson is the best play by or the best announcer. He's my favorite. And
Greg Olson's great. He's great.
And it's a bummer that he got bumped down to the number 2 team from number 1. But Tom Brady, I got to give him credit. He's gotten significantly better. And you're right. There are still some times where you're just like, yeah, what are you talking about, weirdo?
Yeah.
But let's see what else. Oh, another interesting stat. In the first quarter, not a single punt nor a single point by either team.
Yeah.
That probably has not happened very often in the NFL.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, they went for it on fourth downs.
Weird?
Went for it in fourth downs and didn't score points. But yeah, I mean, this Bears defense, they were geared up to play Jordan Love, and when Malik Willis came in, they were not prepared.
No.
And they just physically not able to compete there. And You
And to your
know,
point that you said earlier, is Malik Willis a better quarterback than Jordan Love?
no.
No, but Malik Willis, I think, has a better formula to beat the Bears.
The good thing is that they don't face a quarterback like that the rest of the season or in the playoffs.
Well,
Assuming assuming Jordan Love will be healthy.
right, because I just have that feeling we're going to run into them again.
I mean, if it's shaping up like that's going to be the first round matchup.
Could be.
Um, because unless, I mean, it's like, so I'm just looking at it is the the Eagles are going to win their division, so we wouldn't play them.
They already won their division.
Yeah, so we wouldn't play them unless we
A lot can happen in 2 weeks,
yeah. I mean, but the most likely scenario is Bears and Packers play in the first round.
which that's I mean, the Packers should have beaten you. Let's be real. But who's going to be healthy? What? Like I said, a lot can happen in 2 weeks.
Yep. Um,
And remember this, Sean. I'm not saying it's going to happen at all. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But you saw when Seattle beat the Rams the other night.
that was a wild game.
So, again, I think it's probably less than a 5% chance, but technically, the top seed, if things do fall your way, is not mathematically out. I don't know what's going to
No,
happen.
no, but I mean that would be nice to get that first round bye. But I mean, looking at it is Sam Darnold is he's athletic, but he's not like a mobile quarterback. Um, Jalen Hurts can run, but he hasn't been. Uh, Stafford is a statue.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's also very good, but yes, you're right.
yeah, I'm just talking about, where the Bears struggle on those.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Is Stafford is not a risk for, running on you. Um, Baker, Baker is like Darnold. He's athletic and he can run a little bit, but he's not a huge risk to, you know, to do that. Brock Purdy, similar, not that big of a risk. Most likely Jordan Love is back. And again, he's in that similar camp. Um, Jared Goff statue. So, um, you know, you're, and then your last two games of the season, you're facing Purdy or uh his backup and Goff. So like you're not going to see one of those quarterbacks the rest of the season probably. That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gearing up to stop the pass and stop a running back rather than a a dual threat quarterback.
Right, right. Yeah. Boy, though, can we just magically get a better D line before then? Either way, more pass rush, please.
You know, early in this like winning streak, somebody asked me, they were like, you know, what do you think the Bears focus on in the draft? I'm like, huh, that's a good question. You're probably good at tight end and receiver and quarterback and I'm talking about the early draft picks. You're probably not going offensive line. Um, I was like, but now it's pretty evident is, you know, always best player available, but you've really got to keep an eye on defensive linemen, edge rushers and interior defensive linemen.
Yep.
I don't know if Grady Jarrett's back next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But what's annoying is you've sunk a lot of money into that.
Do you know what it is? it's they needed a veteran that was vocal, that has been successful in this league, and to be a leader on that defense. And that's what they paid Grady Jarrett for,
Hmm.
because he is that guy. He's not playing like you would hope, but you had a Grady Jarrett on the defense and a Joe Tooney on the offense. And
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
and they had the money. Now, next year is when they start to transition, when you start to have to keep an eye on the salary cap.
Correct.
And I
Yes.
think, I mean, there's plenty of moves you can make, but so they'll be fine. But you've got to now it's starting where when you start to win and those things matter, you start, uh, you start having to keep an eye on the cap and making smart signings and key cuts. So, um, maybe Grady Jarrett's back next year, but there's no way he's there for all 3 years of that contract.
Probably not. I mean, I still don't dislike that move nearly as much. The one that just makes my blood boil was Daiwo Dangbo.
There's, does he make it to the year two?
Isn't that quite a bit of dead money, though? I guess unless they cut him after what, the midsummer deadline or whatever it is,
You
it's
can
not as
you
much.
can
But
you can designate him as a June 1st and spread it over 2 years. Um, it depends on what your off season looks like.
yeah,
Um, because he's wasn't playing well, and then he got hurt. It was
yeah,
just
it
a
just
bad combo.
bad, just bad. But um, Montez Sweat was pretty disappointing throughout the game, but he did come up big at the end, so I'll at least give him that a little bit. I mean, how crazy were you going with that botch snap and the fumble loss where they turned it over on downs in overtime? How awesome was that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um,
That right there felt like they were going to win it.
looking at over the cap here. Um, man, they've got to they've got to do some things here because they're pretty tight in this cap here. Um, Saves them about 3 million bucks next year,
Not a lot.
but it saves them like $15 million in 2027. Um, Grady Jarrett. Uh, Grady Jarrett costs you unless you do a post June 1st.
Yeah,
Um,
there's quite a bit of dead money on that front.
yeah, I don't know. That's what we pay our GM for. Not going to worry about that today. That's a tomorrow problem. Um, yeah, but you know, as frustrating as it was to watch the defense struggle against the Packers scored 16 points.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, they kept him out of the end zone for the most part.
Yeah. Um,
I mean,
and
Green Bay has to be really kicking themselves over this loss for a number of reasons. Even beyond just getting that onside kick, you could have put that game away much sooner. They could have easily been up at least 14 or 17 to nothing early, depending on how many trips you score in the red zone.
that's the NFL for you though,
Oh,
is
of course, of
is
course.
a team has all that momentum, and then it's a league that's where teams are just terrible at putting an opponent down early. It's I don't know what it is, if it's but it's teams just have a hard time for the most part putting a team away early. and stepping on their throats. And the Packers couldn't do it against the Bears here, and um, and it cost them. And you look at the week two, or was it, sorry, week one against the Vikings, where the Bears couldn't put them away, and then
Yep.
the Vikings came roaring back. So it's it's just one of those things. And when you let a team hang around, bad things happen.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, even look at like last week, it ended up being a blowout, but you didn't step on their throat when you really had a chance to. And you could have had those starters out in the third quarter.
Yeah. But um let's see. Uh the running game, I mean, here's the thing is sure they were without Micah Parsons, but that was a top 5 defense last year without Micah Parsons.
Yes, it's still a very good defense.
It's a very good defense. And the Bears, the Bears late in the second half finally found that rhythm of running the ball. And that was the change that sparked everything because the Bears were picking up 5, 6, 7 yards a clip. Then that opened up a little bit of a window for Caleb Williams to be able to throw, a little more time. And then he is just like an absolute, wizard throwing that ball. He just doesn't throw picks. It's when he drops back, you're like, that might not be a completion, but I'm not worried about it being an interception because, what is it? First 1,000 throws, nobody's ever had, less interceptions in the first 1,000 throws. He just takes care of the ball, knock on wood. Uh, and these receivers need to be better about helping him. Too many balls hit people right in the hands and drop them.
Yeah. Again, Zacchaeus had another big one today.
Zacchaeus had one. Kyle Monungai had one.
Well, Menungai
Uh,
has one every game. He's a great runner, but those hands are stone.
oh, they are stone. I think they're gonna running back might be something they sneakily keep an eye on.
Hmm.
Um, and what's funny is early on, all last season and early on this season, we talked about DeAndre Swift. It's like, my God, this guy just goes down with the first contact, and he has so many plays where he has negative yards or no yards. That's changed. He's a power runner now because they're getting him the ball with space so he can get ahead of steam. And when he's got ahead of steam, he's really hitting the hole hard and hitting those defenders.
He's hitting the hole hard. He's running smartly. He's got a better vision of the field, and his blockers are doing his job to make it better for him. And that is effort on DeAndre Swift. That's effort from the line. That's the scheme. That's how it's all put together. This whole running operation and DeAndre Swift, you give him so much credit, but that whole operation just makes it all the more better. And you got to think that the coaches have worked like Eric Bieniemy and Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle, all those guys on the offensive side of the ball, you know how hard they've been working with him. And I think DeAndre Swift, he'll probably be the first one to tell you that he wanted to be a hell lot better of a back than he was last year when he was averaging under 4 yards per carry for the season. And it's the work has done wonders. The work he's put in, the coaching staff, the line, everything around him. Like you can't tell me right now that DeAndre Swift hasn't just absolutely worked his ass off. And I gave him a lot of crap, and I got to give him a lot of credit for what he's done here.
Somebody on the Bears has the opportunity to do something really funny is in the back of an interview, just pull out like a version of a Billy Madison line and just yell, Declan Doyle rules.
Don't forget about Declan Doyle, people. He is technically the OC.
He is the offensive coordinator. He's not the play caller. He's the offensive coordinator.
I mean,
And
it's Ben Johnson's. He's Ben Johnson is the mastermind here, but Declan Doyle is part of this operation.
yeah, um, and you know, he's another key cog in there. It's Ben Johnson when he assembled this coaching staff. Most of the time, almost exclusively, the two pathways for getting your coaching staff is you have your agent put together your team, and we saw that with Trace Armstrong in the past,
Yeah.
or you pick your friends. And not saying that those are picking your friends is a bad thing. Vic Fangio has brought the same crew of people for years, and it's worked out really well.
Well, yeah, when you have a good track record and one that works with countless players, yeah. Or, when you're able to show as a unit that you can make adjustments accordingly with the players you have, the scheme you put in with the team and the personnel that you have around you. Yeah, I mean, it can work when you have that same group of guys. But, I mean, last year, the Bears were being run by Trace Armstrong. Like, that's who was running the team because that entire web, that entire structure of the hierarchy from Ryan Poles to Matt Eberflus, it wasn't Luke Getzey, wasn't he also Trace Armstrong? Wasn't that his agent?
I believe so.
Yeah. So they assembled that staff basically from top to bottom with the Trace Armstrong tree. And we know to a point, we'll never understand it fully because we don't work in the NFL, but we've come to learn how powerful the agent connection is in the NFL. It's not nothing. A lot of decisions, a lot of the way things are assembled, the way things operate, are those strong connections with those agents. Like that's a big part of it. So the fact they broke that mold finally, you gotta love it. And I think, did you see this past week? I don't remember who tweeted it out, but it was kind of laying out all the different coaches on the staff, like Antoine Randall L. and Eric Bieniemy and Al Harris and some of those other guys, and just talking about the results we've seen because of their efforts. And the best part is that you don't have to worry about your offensive mind leaving because your offensive guru is your head coach. And Ben Johnson's going to be here. Now, it would kind of suck, I think, losing Bieniemy, maybe to an OC job again. Or I think Antoine Randall L. I think he's got head coaching aspirations down the road, but I think he starts as an OC. Would you be surprised if next year somebody plucks Antoine Randall L. or within the next year or so? Because I wouldn't.
I, I would worry more about losing Al Harris.
Oh, I think yes, yes, I
Um,
agree there.
but Randall L could be plucked somewhere. Um, but that's the thing is when you have your offensive head coach, you can replace those other parts.
Right. I mean, that's the good thing. That's the good thing. This isn't like, remember in 2022, we're like, oh boy, what if Luke Getzey gets plucked one day? Yeah, yeah.
uh, um, but like, you know, Dennis Allen, like the thing about here's, you could say you're worried about Dennis Allen getting plucked away. Um, but
He's failed twice as a head coach.
yes. So I think he's around for a while, but even if he does get plucked, that's where you have the opportunity to get those reclamation projects of fired head coaches that are defensive guys, and you bring them back and let them run your defense. And I mean that's what they did with Dennis Allen. You do it with another guy.
Yeah, and
And
I mean, yeah.
like I think it's much easier to replace.
And frankly, if you lost Dennis Allen and you brought somebody else and you kind of overhauled the identity of your defense, to me, that's fine. I mean, this has been a weird defensive year. You take the ball away like nobody's business. Nashawn Wright had another big moment today where he took the ball away.
Yeah.
But Nashawn Wright's play is very emblematic of the defense because they give up a lot of yards. They give up a lot of yards. They don't get a lot of pressure, but they can take the ball away. And I just don't think you could run back this similar type of philosophy next year. Like, you're not going to get those same turnovers next year. So you need to beef up the D line. You need to get more pressure. I'm fine playing man to man in a lot of those situations. And the way that Dennis Allen plays hard, I like that. But man, you can't rely on getting all those takeaways and not getting the pressure that you don't get on the quarterback right now.
Here's the thing is we learned this with Lovey is if you emphasize, prioritize getting those turnovers, they somehow find their way to you. At the clip that they are, no, but you know, it's turnovers aren't luck. They're a skill and or takeaways. But the effort should be to improve your defensive line so it makes you less reliant on those turnovers. You need that guy who on third down gets you off the field.
Right. And that was the thing today is one of the biggest struggles I think with the defense is they did not get off on third down a lot. Remember that one run play that option where Malik Willis just went around and got like a what was it, a 10-yard game? Was it 4th and 1, 4th and 2? Do you remember
Yeah,
what I'm talking about? Was it an RPO, I think maybe?
it was an RPO and he took it and and it was an option play. It was an option play because
It was an option play, yeah.
he put it in the breadbasket of the running back, and then he kept the ball and ran and picked up, a nice chunk of yards. And it was frustrating because
Yeah.
I don't think Jordan Love would have handed off there. Um, but that takeaway from Nashon Wright was huge. Um, that was that because that would have sealed the game.
Yep.
Um, that fourth when they went for it on fourth down the Packers and they had the fumbled snap. Yeah, were you confident that they would stop him on fourth had they got a
No.
clean handoff?
No.
No, I don't
No.
think anybody
No.
was.
No.
Fumbled snap, and they still almost got it.
Yeah.
With the surge forward. Um, so you you know the Packers shot themselves in the foot a lot this game. And the Bears eked their way out of that win in Soldier Field. I think Soldier Field is the differentiator in this game, to be honest with you.
Well, going into this game, it was the biggest game at Soldier Field in a long time, and the fans were ready. They said it was the biggest crowd of the year. Not surprising. If you looked at the tickets, the prices, the demand, the prices were in well above 3, 4, 500 compared to the Browns game last week, where it's like, okay, it's really cold. It's against the Browns. I know the team is winning, but that the demand is nowhere near that high. But yeah, I mean this was a playoff like atmosphere. This was a regular season game that is going to go down in the history books, regardless of how the season ends. I mean, you can talk about, and I can talk about when I was a kid, the Monday night game against the Cardinals, the Denny Green, they are who we thought they were rant. This is right up there. And it might be even bigger considering who it was against. Like, in all honesty, just to play a little exercise, and you might say different because you've seen more Bears games. This is not me calling you old, but this is me calling you old. Uh, can you name how many regular season wins can you name that might be able to match this in terms of the matchup, what was at stake, and how it ended?
Man, offhand, I can't think of anything right offhand. This was big. It was against the rival. It was not, I mean, look at what was at stake. Number one is the shot of home field advantage and a first round bye.
Hmm.
Like if you lose, that's out the window. You win, still a long shot, but the realm of possibility is there.
But your playoff chances now,
That was number two. Your playoff chances, if you lose, were like 70 something percent. You win, it's like 95%.
yeah, because the rest of your schedule is still very tough.
Yeah. So Ben Johnson said he thinks you need 11 wins to make the postseason. This was win 11. It's against your division rival, and it is for uh, maintaining the lead in the division.
Yes.
And it's against your heated rival who is uh, also, as of 2 weeks ago, was number one in the division.
Hmm.
So it's a
A team that was favored to go to the Super Bowl this year.
yeah. This is uh absolutely a huge, huge, huge game. And, it was as advertised. That came down to a, an absolutely perfect throw by Caleb Williams in overtime to win the game.
I would say that's one of the biggest throws a Bears quarterback made in my life. One
A-
of.
I that ball was perfect.
Yep.
And
Oh, yep.
the fact that it wasn't impromptu. He said, Coach and I were in his office and we were talking about that play.
Hmm.
That's preparation. That is preparation.
Yep. Oh my God. I'm watching it over and over. I mean, you can't throw a better ball than that.
Nope.
We
That
dreamed of having a moment like this against the Packers. And we thought it was a big deal last year when Cairo Santos made that 51-yarder at Lambeau to finish the season 5-12. This actually meant something.
I did not want to. If we were to win this game, which we did, I didn't want to win on a field goal. I wanted to win with a touchdown or a defensive stand, preferably a touchdown. And that's what happened. And I I was so defeated. And when they tied it up, I was like, I thought they were going to go for two. I was sure they were going to go for two,
Me too.
especially when on the road. I wonder if it was road versus home. They felt more comfortable going into overtime at home. But he said if they would have scored that touchdown in Lambeau at the end of the game, they would have gone for two.
Yeah, Ben Johnson flat out said that. Now, I know he met with the media initially to, after the game. I have to go back and see what exactly he said. I'm curious. And I mean, remember too that it was such a windier day today at Soldier Field. So I don't know, but the fact that they kicked it, forced it overtime, they got it done, no complaints here.
Yeah, I was like, my hands were sweating because I thought they were going to go for two, and I'm like, the whole game comes down to a 2 point conversion,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking.
when they went to kick it, I was like, okay, this goes to overtime. I'm, if they lose in overtime, like that'll suck. I'll be upset, but at least it went to overtime, not lost at the last play. And when the Packers didn't score, and it was next point, I'm like, okay. And, I'm like, they are way outside of field goal range here.
Yep.
And, that was such a gutsy call.
Yeah.
Just an
Yep.
absolutely gutsy call. And I can't believe that it happened. Just, it was,
Hey, good news. Good, better, best just dropped.
oh my God.
So I'm just gonna watch it now. I want to see who gets the game balls. If you were to give out the game balls, who'd you give them to?
Caleb,
Yeah, I think Caleb gets one.
Cairo.
Yep, I agree. So let's see what he does. Currently watching. He's giving his spiel. Oh, that was a good hell yeah. That was a good hell yeah. Man. Let's see. You know what's really great about these videos is how the camera follows him. Like he's like you're part of being in that group. It feels like you're in that locker room, and that's really, really cool.
Yep.
All right, he's about to give out the first game ball. Cairo Santos.
This is a special group. This doesn't happen everywhere, gentlemen. Where we are, what you guys are doing, it's no fluke. It's no fluke. You are mentally tough, you're physically tough, and you fight all 60 minutes. Hell of a job. All week long, we had to be great in the red zone. We had to be great in the red zone. 0 for 5 defense. Now bear with me for a second. I got 4 game balls here. Because that sequence there at the end, a number of guys stepped up, all right? Let me start with the first one. Cairo Santos.
No, I don't have many words, man. It's special to do this with you guys, coaches, players, and it's all glory to God, man.
Fourth down, cover 0. Hey, bro, I appreciate y'all, bro. Bear down, bro. Man, special teams demon coming through for us right when we need it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need an onside kick, John.
Take all of us, man, and we keep winning, man. Let's keep doing it, man.
Hey, Caleb, I love you. I love you, all right? But this one's not going to you, all right? Because this guy battled through, man. He went down early. He got back up. He got 60 minutes. Don't worry.
Appreciate the play call. I seen that when we had it at practice. Appreciate y'all. We had almost the exact same look. 0. I knew Caleb was gonna give me a chance. Perfect ball. At the end of the day,
Make sure you enjoy it. The big games, they keep coming now. Big games keep coming. The job is not done. Do not say that. Do not do that. Come on. Turn me up, man.
That just hits.
Yeah. Amazing.
DJ Moore with the cheese grater hat. I don't know where you get that. I need one.
Yeah, those came popular. I remember they popped up maybe 10, 12 years ago. I think somebody originally made them and they kind of like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. Let's get those.
Yeah, that just hit. And it's funny. He really makes Caleb earn it when he gets a game ball.
Yeah, he does,
He holds Caleb to a higher standard,
which is good.
which is good.
That's good.
Um,
And I think
I,
Caleb understands that.
yeah, I mean, is if if you give Caleb all these game balls, doesn't fight like having that adversity, throwing that interception in Green Bay is what made that throw today.
Mm-hmm.
That ate at him. That ate at him. He wasn't going to let that happen again.
No.
And it was the best pass he's probably ever thrown in his whole career.
Yes. Yes.
And
It's
that's saying a lot because he's thrown some incredible. That touchdown last week to DJ Moore
oh yeah,
was
insane.
one of those plays where everybody goes, there, you shouldn't have thrown that. And he had no qualms about throwing it. And
Mm-hmm.
he's not a guy that's people are like, oh, he's got some Brett Favre in him. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Brett Favre would throw interceptions. Caleb doesn't. He has that same arm talent. He's better at protecting the ball.
Yep.
Oh man, that. So now we go on to let's look at next week here. I mean, the remaining of the week is huge game that's impactful to us is in Detroit. Pittsburgh going to Detroit to play the Lions.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. I think if the Lions lose, the Bears are get a playoff berth.
Correct.
I mean, here's how I hope it plays out. Is Detroit beats Pittsburgh. And because I would prefer Detroit in over Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I could see an argument for either or.
They kicked your ass. Detroit kicked
Yeah, they
your
did.
ass. But this is a different team, and Detroit doesn't have that magic juju dust over you. They just don't.
Well, I think one thing to consider is if you were to play Detroit, including the final matchup, I'm not saying it's going to make them win or lose, but playing at home feels like a much bigger advantage.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um so so you've got I mean whatever happens with the Panthers and the Buccaneers, that doesn't matter to you.
Right.
Because one team's going to win the division, the other team is not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're I would say the only reason that they're still in the hunt is because that division win is still up for grabs.
Correct.
Because
why can't we play in that division?
Oh, we would have had that locked up weeks ago.
Yeah.
But we're looking at what games we have left. So, Detroit has Pittsburgh this week. And then next week they go to Minnesota. The Packers host the Ravens. The reason I kind of hoped, if Detroit beats Pittsburgh, Ravens have got a lot to play for.
Yes, they do. That's a tight one.
It is a tight one. And if that could flip-flop this week. But so that's, keep that interesting. Then the final week of the season, Detroit comes to Chicago and Packers go to Minnesota. Minnesota could play the spoiler in this division because
They could.
they host the Packers and they host Detroit, both of
Yeah.
them in the remaining, 3 weeks of the season. And they're already mathematically eliminated.
They are. But look what they did to Dallas. They eliminated them.
Yeah. Um, so, and they don't have that juju with the either of those teams. So I think those could be tough games.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And
And you know
especially,
that they want to finish strong with JJ McCarthy.
yeah. And their defensive coordinator wants to finish strong because he hopeful for a head coaching job.
Right. That's true.
So they have a lot to play for. Um, so I mean, it's it's hard to imagine a scenario where the Bears don't make the playoffs.
Sean Hotman, it's the kiss of death.
I
Knocking on
mean,
wood.
I mean, I
I mean, their chances are very good. I'm
it,
just
it
giving you crap.
yeah, the Lions would have to the Bears would have to lose their next two games, and Detroit would have to win all three of their games. So,
Well,
and
right now, you control your destiny. So,
yeah,
truly, you just have to take care of your own business. It's not going to be easier playing two insanely tough games. Next week, you go to San Francisco. That is going to be very, very hard. But, I mean, if you truly believe in yourself and you think you're better, then go out and beat them.
it's I'm interested to see how they play against the 49ers because the 49ers, I don't think they're that good of a team, but they're 10-4 and they keep winning games.
I mean, they're so well coached. Mike Shanahan has been around for a long, long
I
time.
mean,
He has
Kyle Shanahan.
success. Kyle Shanahan, sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mike's been out for a minute.
I was gonna say not wrong Shanahan. I always call him Mike Shanahan.
Too many Shanahans.
I mean the Shanahan tree is very, very extensive. But yes, Kyle Shanahan. He's been around since what he became their head coach in 2017 after Harbaugh left.
Yeah, it's been
And
a
he's taken them to two Super Bowls, and they have a top offense every year. Look what they did with Brock Purdy.
and their defense. They, you know, if you remember the coach of the Jets that got fired, they brought him back as defensive coordinator for the 49ers, and I was like, that's the guy I wanted. To be the Bears defensive coordinator. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. When you said
Robert
former,
Saleh.
yeah, Robert Saleh, because they fired Robert Saleh what, like mid last year, I think it was.
Yeah, and you know what? That team's just an absolute catastrophe.
Yeah, it's hard for any coach to succeed there. Like, did you see that they fired their current defensive coordinator after they traded all away all their defensive pieces? Like,
Yeah.
really? Like that is going to struggle. You're going to have defensive struggles when you trade away your top defensive players. Really? What a mess they are. I mean, both New York teams, man.
I feel bad for their head coach because
Aaron Glenn,
he
yeah.
stepped into a shitty situation.
He did. He did.
They don't have a quarterback. They have a mess of a team. Their owner's a mess.
They got a lot of money, but he doesn't know how to run it.
Yeah, and you know, like I'm gonna say, I don't think Justin Fields is an NFL starting quarterback, but he has not gotten a fair shake so far in this league. Not saying that he would have been good in a better situation, but man, has he been put in some shitty situations.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to choose an organization you'd least want to play for, I mean, right now the Jets have got to be up there. The Vegas Raiders got to be up there. I mean, do you think Pete Carroll even lasts another year after this year?
So I read today that Tom Brady is going to start taking a more hands-on approach with the organization.
So he's basically going to be running the show.
I think so.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to force him to step away from broadcasting.
Yeah.
Um, I think he has he likes Pete Carroll. I don't think. I mean, that team was just a disaster.
Oh yeah, I mean it's hard. Geno Smith is not good anymore, and I don't think you're getting much more out of him at this point in his career. He had a few good years, but that was it. Uh, there's just a lot of bad there. A lot of bad.
Yeah, you need a quarterback,
Yes,
and it sucks
and an
because
offensive line.
and an offensive line. You should have money, and you should have a good draft pick. I just not a very good quarterback draft this year.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, what's Tankathon looking at right now? NFL. The Giants currently have the number one overall pick, Vegas number two, Tennessee number three, Cleveland four, the Jets five.
Yeah,
I,
a lot of teams in that
I don't even think the Giants are. It's funny that I don't think the Giants are that far off.
if they had a healthy Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo and Malik Neighbors, I think you have a semblance of an offense.
Your defensive line is good.
Yeah.
Get you some defensive backs, a couple of offensive linemen, and uh and fire your GM. He's terrible.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
didn't they just fire him?
did they fire? Okay, I'm sure. I mean, he needed it. He was terrible. Bring in a better GM and new coaching staff and get some healthy players. And I think they're competitive next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't think Vegas is that. Vegas is a little bit far off, but not in a
You
cesspool
need a
like the
line,
Jets.
and frankly, I think Max Crosby wants out of there. I think he's done.
Oh man, if we got Max Crosby.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know.
Um, Tennessee, they just have no talent. They're not a. I don't think they're a mess of an organization.
No, they just
They're just depleted of everything.
right. Yeah, they need to build an actual roster.
Cleveland, I think, is run by morons, and I feel bad because they're probably going to fire their head coach, and they
I think that head coach was set up to fail.
yes, absolutely. They've not given him a quarterback,
They have
and
no vision.
you gave. I mean, he was taking a 40-something-year-old quarterback and winning with him, and then you're like, oh, we're going to trade him. Now you got to play with a fifth-round rookie.
Right. And
The
you
J-
still have Deshaun Watson on the books. Remember
yes,
that.
yep. And then the Jets. The Jets are the most dysfunctional organization in football.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Um, can we move to a pretty big subject surrounding the Bears that's not on the football field?
yes, and I'm sure it is. An Indiana related topic.
You're the pride and joy of Gary, Chicago Bears, Indiana Bears, bear down. Um,
Kevin Warren has done such a dog shit job of this stadium project.
I think it's a collective here. I really do think it's a collective. I think you have a situation where Kevin Warren isn't doing what you'd hope to. You have an ownership that doesn't have money that other NFL owners have because the McCaskies are not business people. They're just the descendants of Virginia and George Stanley Hallis, and that's all their income. They're one of the least valued owners in sports, along with the Rooneys. But the Rooneys are actually smart. Like the Rooneys run their business very, very well. I mean, you're not owned by a tyrant in the real estate industry or a big investor or a guy who owns multiple teams. You don't have a fraction of the money that the Hunt family has or that Shad Khan has or some of those other big time rich NFL owners. And you need this money from the state, and there's no common ground here. And it just, the fact that the Arlington Heights plot was bought before there was even a plan. The whole process here was, hey, Ted Phillips buys this land. Okay, then you guys can figure out the rest. The whole process has just not been good. Not been
Yeah,
good at all.
it has not been good. They're depending on government handouts, and the tide has shifted. Illinois is just not. Um, the governor recognizes all of the data that in the history of municipalities and states and governments giving money to stadiums has not been financially viable for the communities.
Right.
It just hasn't. Not a single
Right.
time. You talk about all these job creations, et cetera, et cetera. There is, look at the data. It has never been financially viable for the communities. They
And
always
experts have
hold the,
talked about that in recent years.
yeah, we recognize it. Pritzker, love him or hate him, has turned around the economy in this state, and he doesn't want to take on all of this debt for a privately owned team.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a predicament because you understand, even like the people don't want to pay a bunch of tax money for this thing. I get it. I also understand the Bears only have so much money to do it, and there was always going to be politics involved. I think Kevin Warren underestimated how hard it was going to be, especially since things were so easy in Minnesota when he bought and built their stadium. They kept the land, they built the new stadium, went very smoothly. It wasn't going to go this smoothly here. Now, I know a lot of people, including myself initially, were asking why this came out because Kevin Warren wrote that open letter. What was it, Wednesday or Thursday or Tuesday? It was in the middle of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
The week of the biggest game that you were playing in
Yeah, why?
years. So
Why?
it sounds like the Tribune was going to run with that story. So I think they were just trying to get ahead of it.
It's funny that the letter, one of the first lines was, "This isn't leverage.
Oh, yeah, it's
This is
leverage.
this is 100% leverage. They're
Yes.
not moving to Indiana."
Even though, did you notice that as soon as that letter was penned, the Indiana governor and the government, oh, they were ready to eat. We will welcome you with open arms. Come to Gary. We will clear out this toxic wasteland here. I picture them like proposing land for a stadium and it's got like glowing goo like you see in The Simpsons at the nuclear plant.
Yeah, like you're not moving to Gary. Like it's just not gonna happen. Like you know what a joke they would be if they moved to Gary, Indiana?
Yeah, and let's be clear here. This is not like the Giants and the Jets playing in Jersey.
No, it's not. This is Gary, Indiana. It's a terrible place.
No, and it's not like the Rams and the Clippers and the Chargers playing in Englewood. Englewood is quite the opposite of Gary, Indiana. And listen, I'm sure there's plenty of season ticket holders and diehard fans in that area, but there's a lot of season ticket holders more up north in the Chicagoland area. And yeah, you could argue maybe some people would have an easier time going there than Arlington Heights, but I think as a whole, it would just be really weird optics to have your home stadium in Gary, Indiana, or wherever in northern Indiana, not necessarily just Gary, but I just don't see that happening. I I still believe when it's all said and done, it will be in Arlington Heights. It just might not be for a very, very long time. And one of the things was whether shovels went in the ground this year or next year, wherever it is. We were a few years away from this new stadium coming to be. Um, so
Did you hear Brandon Johnson talk about it?
I saw there was a clip of him talking about it, but I honestly didn't listen to it.
They asked him about the potential of the report of potentially moving to Gary, Indiana. And he's like, I'm not even going to say the name of that place.
Hmm.
He's like, I'm going to say what I've said before. I'm going to say it again. There was not a proposal in Arlington Heights. There's not a proposal in Indiana. The The only proposal that they have gotten, and the best proposal they have gotten, is to stay in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, they had a prayer beforehand. Remember that?
So I I, I don't think Chicago is out the window yet.
I mean, it's more likely than Indiana, in my opinion.
I don't see it. I don't see it happening in Gary, Indiana. Um, Especially if that's your goal is to have like these restaurants and bars and a sports book. You're
So much easier to do that in Arlington Heights.
it's just not going to happen in Gary. Nobody wants to go to Gary.
It's
No,
not going to happen in Gary, and it's not going to happen on the lakefront. You're not going to build a bunch of, even if you renovate Soldier Field, you're not going to build a bunch of bars, restaurants,
no, but
movie theaters, venues at the campus there. You're not.
but if you have, you're not going to get that revenue, but you can, the city will help facilitate more things over there. There's actually people would want to go to downtown and make the day of it. Nobody, they're going to go to, if they go to Gary, which they're not, they're going to go to the game and immediately hop in their car and bolt home. They're not
Bring
staying at a
it
sports
along.
book. And I don't know how a sports book is going to work because they have a casino right there.
Right.
So,
Yeah, right. That's true.
I don't even know like what that, but it just doesn't make sense. It's a leverage ploy because Indiana will throw money at them and because their governor is fiscally irresponsible and they don't have, they're desperate to get another sports team in
Oh
Indiana.
yeah, they would absolutely love it. They would absolutely love that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, here's what
It's
gets
weird to me is like, instead of saying like the reason they said Northwest Indiana or in Gary is because the the governor will give them money. If they were truly talking about like the area, they would have been like, oh, Joliet or, you know, somewhere down that way, where the land is cheaper and they could build something up there. But no,
we're
no,
gonna
no.
play at the racetrack.
Uh,
You're gonna see George McCaskey zooming around in laps in a little buggy car.
we're gonna play our home games at the World Music Theater, First Credit Union Arena Pavilion or whatever it's called now.
Hey, I still say they should have bought the old Stratford Mall land,
Oh man.
though that is currently being transformed into an outdoor hub. I think it's like they're naming it like a Bloomingdale something. I said you should have renamed it the Streets at Stratford, but that's just me. But yeah, well,
I would love if Rosemont would have been like, oh man, here's a bunch of land like they did to the Cubs.
yeah, right. Though probably since that offer, they've built something there because they've
Yeah.
really built up Rosemont over the past decade.
Yeah, they have. They
We're gonna
built
play at the Allstate Arena. We're gonna be we're gonna be like the AFL.
but if they were anywhere around there, I would be like stoked because I could just take the L there.
I was gonna say that's not far from you.
No. No. It is not. I could just take the L, not have to worry about anything.
The thought though of them playing in Joliet, that would be kind of funny.
The Joliet Bears.
The Joliet Bears. It's got one of the few Rex roast beef locations there. That's the only reason I go there.
We're gonna move to Bourbonnais because we'll be close to the only Bozo's hot dog still.
Bozo's hot dogs.
Our sponsor, Bozo's Hot Dogs.
Can you imagine George? He's doing a promo for Bozo's hot dogs at a stadium there, and he's just dressed up like a fucking clown throwing the hot dogs everywhere. It's Bozo's hot dogs.
Got mustard all down his shirt.
Speaking of stadium food, did you see the clip of the dude who was at the Bears game last week and he opened his RC Cola and it like froze immediately after
I did. That was wild.
It was wild, but I'm like, oh man, like an RC Cola slushy, that would be sick.
That would probably hit in August or July.
Oh yeah.
When it's 2 degrees, that probably is no good.
Yeah, yeah. Because every time I go to Family Fest there, I'm like, yeah, I don't need a beer or anything. Just give me a nice cold fountain RC. Oh, that would be so good. Like a Slurpee from 7-Eleven, like the Coca-Cola ones, but it's fucking RC Cola. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Got to get me some pizza with that though. Some greasy tavern style pizza. That's the Chicago way.
Mm,
Did you
mm.
see they had like a Malort infused like hot chocolate with
I did.
yeah.
You know how disgusting that is?
Ugh.
Who's drinking that?
Daredevils. Hopefully the other ingredients there, the other stuff they mix in it kind of dilute the Malort because I don't want to drink rubber band tasting hot cocoa.
So, my friend and his roommate have like uh, a party at their place, like in January every year, and one of them makes Jello shots, and they're surprise. Like he makes like 4 different batches, and with different alcohols, and one of them was Malort. And my wife never had Malort before, and she tried it, and she goes, "Oh, that's not bad." And everyone was just like shocked looking at her when she didn't didn't have an eye twitch when she drank them or had the Jello shot.
I almost threw up when I had Malort. It was just that bad. Uh,
I my one of my favorite memes is it's the picture of Henry Hill and Joe Pesci from Goodfellas laughing hard, and it says Chicagoans watching their out of town friends drink Malort for the first time, and it's really accurate. Oh, I think most Malort sales are people giving it to their out of town friends.
it's a novelty. That's what it is. It's a novelty. And if you enjoy it, God bless you. But yeah, it's with me, it's like when I first drank it, I'm like, oh, that doesn't really taste like much. And then that aftertaste hits. You're like, whoa, whoa, what is that?
It's like a small child having spicy food for the first time. They don't do anything, and then suddenly their mouth is open and they're just like pointing at their tongue, like ah.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, uh, I don't really want to talk about anything else.
I don't either. I don't either. I wanted to do this just bears.
Yeah. Um, next week's gonna be the last thing I want to say is next week's gonna be a tough game in San Francisco. That's a really good team, a well-coached team, and um, uh, if hopefully they can get their ground game going because that's going to be the key to winning that game.
Yep, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
And fingers crossed that we don't need to get any more wins. But boy, it would be nice to wrap up the season with winning our last 2 games.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Make sure that there's no chance of not winning the division. Wrap that division up. Because you know the Packers don't have a gimme schedule.
No, neither
Uh,
do we. Neither
that
neither
Ravens
team
team,
does.
that Ravens team is desperate, and the Packers are injured, and Minnesota is going to try to play spoiler.
Yep, exactly.
So, go in there, win the division, and what is? I just want to quickly look at what uh the Rams schedule. I think they play the 49ers.
You know what's crazy? The Rams have one of the best records in the NFL, but like all 4 of their losses, they had like a 90-some% chance of winning. Did you see that stat?
No.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's see. They have the Falcons and the Cardinals. Oof. Man.
Yeah.
They're gonna get through.
Yeah.
What about the Seahawks schedule? Seahawks have. The Seahawks have the Panthers and the 49ers, both on the road.
I mean, it's the NFL, man. It's the NFL. You never know. You
I
just
mean,
never know.
if I'm a betting man, I'm saying the Rams get the number 1 seed. That's those are not hard games for the Rams. I mean, the Rams already locked it, and the Seahawks and the Eagles already locked in their playoff berth.
Right, right.
Um, it's laughable that the Buccaneers they they're 7-7 and could win their division.
Yeah. We never have that luck.
No, we don't. It's always that stupid division.
I know.
And yeah, we're not going to get 3 teams from our division in the playoffs this year.
No.
But 49ers, is there a possibility for the 49ers to win that division? I think there is.
Technically, I don't know how strong it is though.
You know what? I think Tom Brady said on the broadcast that the 49ers control their own destiny.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess with the I guess
They-
with that Rams loss,
They,
that yeah.
they must have beat they must have beat the Rams.
They might have.
Um
Yeah, because with the tiebreakers, because if the Rams would have won that game, they would have had a bigger lead, and that probably would have put their chances very small.
Let's see, the 49ers. They beat the Seahawks already, and they play them again. They beat the Rams the first time. Oh, they split against the Rams. But I think then I think next tiebreaker is division record. And I think that's the only game that the 49ers have lost so far is against the Rams. And the Rams have lost to the 49ers and the Seahawks. So, yeah, 49ers control their own destiny.
All right then.
Yeah,
yeah.
the Seahawks. They said
that Rams loss was pretty big.
The Seahawks and the 49ers both control their own destiny.
Yep, that's tight.
Yeah.
Again, a lot can change in 2 weeks.
It's wild that it can. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I just wanted to talk about this, man. I really just want to talk about this.
It's hilarious when you texted me and asked me about recording tonight. It was a much different conversation that we were both having in our head than when we got on the air.
We were going to be pissed. We were going to be swearing, yelling, all that stuff. And
now it's a lot better this way.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I like this much better.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. That's how we grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or Swerski_sports_podcast on Instagram, or ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter/X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like Remember, New Yorkers, smoking crack is not legal on planes. Bears 31 to -7. The Bears!
Oh, when the Bears go bearing down.